He is going to score underneath the sticks. What a statement.
Has it come off his leg? It seems like it has. What a try from Stuart here, though. Captain taking it in his own hands.
It's a try for the captain.
Try time by October, in for the try.
It's Monument in the second half, carried nicely. Try time.
Down the blind side for Otiniqua.
Skitterende voete deur sy.
Hierdie manne van Grey College is hulle opbeweeg daar die kom.
And out of nowhere, try scored by Durbanville.
Oh, he's going to go all the way, will he? In the left-hand corner.
What a run by the feather. Bobby Alexander, that is phenomenal, sir. Spots a gap. Quino on the outside centre. I tell you what, it is so good to have school rugby back, and it is the third match of the tournament. It is the North-South Rugby Tournament, sponsored by Barloworld Tour to Menlyn, and we've got a cracker coming up. Garsfontein up against Paarl Gim, both sides fielding their second 15s in this part of the tournament, but I tell you what, based on what we've just seen, these second teams can take on many, many first teams. Garsfontein, second 15. Watch out for Zane Pretorius at 9 and Jamaleo Goliath at 10. A very good halfback pairing, and a man to watch out for as well at number 15, Liam Dick, coached by Tiernison. Meanwhile, over in the Paarl Gim second 15, some big names to watch out for there. Luan Buerta, Neil Bierkus. We know Paarl Gim are traditionally a powerhouse pack, and don't expect anything less this time around. It's going to be a big one. And with me, as always, you just heard him, and I've just pretty much taken over the seat from Fudge because Johan is still with me. Johan, it's going to be a good one.
Yeah, Paarl Gim is definitely still on a high. Their first side ended an unbeaten streak of Grey College last week at the Mona Centenary Festival of 4 years. And Director of Rugby Peter Rousseau, will still be on a high. And this second side, although going down to Grey College's Cherries by 35 points to 31, is a really formidable outfit with lots of grade 11s in it. And, this is the Paarl Gim first side of the future.
Tell you what, it's very much a contrast in terms of tradition and history between the sides. Paarl Gim going way back to 1858, producing a number of Springboks. I think they've got the second most, in fact, since 1992. Whereas you've got Garsfontein, a relatively new outfit, 1988 established. They've only got one Springbok to their name, Ambrose Papier. But the way they've been playing of late, you can expect them to produce a few more.
It's almost like the Welcome Gymnasium side we saw in the previous game. Garsfontein, one of the modern-day rugby schools in South Africa. And incidentally, Reino van der Merwe, who's now the director of rugby at Affie's, moved from Garsfontein. And Reino did a sterling job over there. And just in the last few years, they've produced players like the fly-off of UJ Ulrich Claessens. They've produced Diego Apollos, who's playing for the Blue Bulls now. And, a real powerhouse of the modern-day schoolboy rugby.
So, the number 12 taking over kicking duties, Zander Strauss. Watch him out for Paarl Gim. And he'll get things underway, and this is the third match of the tournament. And things are underway. A nice high kick from the inside centre, Zander Strauss, and well collected from Willie de Klerk. Garsfontein get their bearings, slowly output by Zane Pretorius, but great defence already. And had they stolen it, they haven't. But a nice bullocking run attempted from Garsfontein, the second, and it will be cleared out. And they do find touch. And that's a very good start for Garsfontein. Nice touch finder. Under a bit of pressure early on, but managing to get out of there.
Yeah, it was a big statement of intent by the Paarl Gymnasium defence there. But Garsfontein did manage to take the Route 1 exit play, and a brilliant kick by their fly half, Jamaleo Goliath, taking play deep into Paarl Gim's half.
Told you about these big locks of Paarl Gim. Watch out. Jean-Fourie certainly going to be looking out for the likes of Luan Buerta and Neil Bierkus. Buerta, of course, a very common name when it comes to big locks in South Africa. And there he will take it, very well collected in the middle of the lineout. And there they set up their rolling maul before offloading, but they'll keep on going a couple of meters as they power on. Look at the strength from Paarl Gim. Garsfontein already know that they are in for a certain fight. And eventually it is cleared out to the backs. Nice work there from Nicolas Rousseau, the 8th man, and it is penalty going the way of Paarl Gim.
One thing that you always know about the Paarl Gymnasium sides is they will be well coached, they'll be well drilled, and the structures will be in place. That first line out proving that point exactly.
Well, you mentioned him a little earlier in the previous match. Slap Chips Peter Rousseau, he's got a hand in these sides. Director of Rugby at Paarl Gim, no surprises there. And immediately when you're speaking about the player who you're referring to, and you said that long, languid run, I knew that you were going to refer to Peter Rousseau. And as we speak, he walks in here right now.
Yeah,
How you doing?
Peter Rousseau just walking past here, and as we said, still on a high. He's Paarl Gim's side, beating Great College last week, and his second side made a great start to this encounter.
So very good opportunity now for Paarl Gim to stake their claim early on, and well collected once again. The towering locks from Paarl Gim are certainly one to watch out for, but John Fourie holding at the back. Luan Taylor trying to get his hands over the top, but they continue to roll at the 5 meter now. Paarl Gim eyeing the try line. Very strong response though. It looked as if Garsfontein were dead in the water, but not to be, because they defended admirably and they pushed Paarl Gim slightly backwards. So suddenly it's Paarl Gim now under pressure. It looks to make the turnover, and they have managed to do so. Brilliant work from Hugo Jason, and he goes down. And it is penalty the way of Paarl Gim.
Yeah, that was a big thing for the momentum of this match, that piece of defense by Garsfontein. They looked dead and buried 3 meters out, but somehow they regrouped, and that is a mammoth moment in this match.
Another opportunity now for Paarl Gim. You saw how strong their line-out has been already, very much early days, but this is certainly going to be their strength. Number 4, Bierkus. Number 5, Luan Buerta. Buerta's collected a number of balls, and will he collect again? No, it went to the back, and that was collected well by Dean Kraus. And Garsfontein steadying the ship somewhat, and they're fighting back in defense. We saw it a little earlier, and it is eventually cleared out, taken well. Nice work from Liederman, the scrummy, very prevalent so far. Loose pass from him. Hanekom trying his best to get through, and no forward from him, but it is a turnover knock-on originally from Paarl Gim. So we'll go back for the scrum. First scrum of the game, Johan.
Yeah, always a big moment in any rugby match is the first scrum, but like I said, big moments in this match is Paarl Gim has had all the possession in the first 4 minutes. They've had 2 or 3 great attacking opportunities, and Garsfontein has managed to hold them out. That'll just lift the spirits and create a little bit of momentum on the side of the north.
Interesting time in any rugby match, the first scrum. Big pack there from Paarl Gim. Can Garsfontein hold on from just down the road? Early reset. Tell you what, we've had some cracker games so far. Erke Janssen coming away with a very good victory, and that Tsepo Ledwaba. What a player, Johan.
That was one of the moments of my young commentating career, was seeing Tsepo Ledwaba on his 2 amazing runs. You know, feet of flame, stepping like Michael Flatley and just going over. That was absolutely amazing, and something I won't forget very soon.
The Boksburg Irishman, Tsepo Ledwaba. 5 minutes in, no score yet on the board. The first scrum of the game. We've had the second reset now. You can see certain height difference between the two sides, and the referee's just going to quickly have a word. That being said, Garsfontein boasts a very strong front row. Leon Pretorius, the man in charge of this clash.
Yeah, he's just laying down the law there to the front rankers, and almost feel that's something that every front ranker in South Africa needs early on in a match. It's just the referee telling them, hey boys, this is not all about you. They do like to make it all about the scrum and all about the line out and all about the maul. That's just the species of the front row.
I must admit, I do enjoy it when referees lay down the law very early on. And steady scrum there from the two. Big front row from Garsfontein, living up to their size, their appearance. Big hoof downfield, but that will stay in play. Nice attack here. Told you to watch out for Labuskakni. He breaks away through 3 and eventually goes down. Nicely picked up from Visser. And the 8th man, Rousseau, is there to clear out. He's been exceptionally loose so far in play. Liederman finds Hanekom. Nice flat pass from the fly half. And he gets it out to the big tight head Low. Low finds a man on his outside. And it is the inside center, Zander Strauss. Liederman to Kraus. This is the play we like to see. And this is exactly what Paarl Gim were looking for. Once again, it is Rousseau trying to burst his way through the attack or the defense. Can't quite do it just yet. Liederman with Hanekom waiting. Hanekom gets it, finds his outside center ace. But very well tackled. Turnover ball, knock on. And Garsfontein get out of jail somewhat for now. And it is booted downfield once again.
Great defense on the side of Garsfontein once again. But now in the hands of this exciting fullback, Labuschagne. But he's tackled brilliantly in a chop tackle. And yes, says the referee, Garsfontein, you deserve that one. Your defense has won you that one.
That is a tremendous tackle. But early doors, Fadi Labuschagne looking very dangerous for Paarl Gim. Also very impressed with Nicholas Rousseau, the number 8, been very prevalent so far. But here we go with the attack once again from Labuschagne. Trying to break through, can't quite get past.
What has been really impressive in these first 6 or 7 minutes, Derek, has been the structure that Paarl Gim is keeping. Everything is nice and controlled, everything is structured, but putting the phases together, and like we said, you can see that a well-drilled outfit.
So first attacking opportunity for Garsfontein. And it looked fairly skewish. Referee says no, continue to play. Chance now for Garsfontein. Pretorius gets it out to Goliath. Nice pop pass there from Goliath. Picked up from Pretorius. He tries to go it alone. Gets up once again. Was he held? No, he wasn't. It'll be Goliath now to play scrummy. Gets it through to Hugo. Nice run from Hugo. It's at the 22. Pretorius back in action. Finds Scott. Nice defense from Paarl Gim. The Garsfontein continue to attack, this time through Botha. And it is penalty, Garsfontein.
Garsfontein's taking their claim now on this match. They've absorbed all the pressure that Gim could throw at them, and they've just upped the ante a little bit. This time it was them that kept to their structure, put a few phases together, and an opportunity for them to now get the first points of this match.
So their first chance to attack, and it looks as if they could take the lead. Paarl Gim having had numerous opportunities so far. We saw those early 2 penalties camped on the Garsfontein line, resulting in next to nothing. There's a chance now for Garsfontein to, say, take somewhat of an undeserved lead.
Yeah, interesting to see, Derek, that in the first 9 minutes, you know, the pack of forwards from Garsfontein has sort of been holding their own. They repelled a couple of drives. There's been good carries by their tight forwards, making a few yards, and maybe sort of, like you say, unexpectedly, you know, they can take the lead here, but it will also be well deserved for all the pressure they did absorb.
Goliath with the kick, and that is well left of the post. So we can speak about undeserved leads as much as we want. There's no one in the front. 10 minutes in, and it's Garsfontein 0, Paarl Gim 0, and Paarl Gim with the restart. And it's interesting to note, I spoke about the size of Paarl Gim's pack, but that front row was Garsfontein, Hugo, Prinsloo, and Botha, the big boys.
Yeah, there's meat in Pretoria at this stage must be slightly cheaper than down south, because a couple of big men in this Garsfontein pack. You know, Paarl Gim might have the length in the line-out, but I think Garsfontein's pack might actually outweigh them.
Another chance now for Garsfontein inside their own half, attacking with vigor. Nice run from Scott, but it is a penalty going the way of Paarl Gim, and referee Leon Pretorius. Oh, could we perhaps see a card here? What's going on now? Jeez, he's very strict on that whistle. What do you think he's saying there? You know?
I think he might be a teacher of profession to start off with, but he's very, very strict on that. And I think it was all about a side entry, but also, you know, not keeping his feet and perhaps creating a dangerous situation at the right time. Referees, of course, asked by the IRB to be very, very strict on any head-to-head contact or something like that. So that would be my best guess what that chat was all about.
Tell you what, Leon Pretorius could be a doppelganger for a younger Ruan Pienaar. If you kind of blur your eyes somewhat. Ruan Pienaar, former player of your old school, yeah?
Yeah, Ruan Pienaar, 37 years old, still going strong, and one of the legends of South African rugby. And, you know, he also started playing at this level.
Very much so. A lot of people forget that Ruan Pienaar played fly-off in that British and Irish Lions series in 2009 before Morné Steyn took over towards the tail end of that series. But more about this game, and Paarl Gim with a glorious chance to get the first score on the board. Holding nicely at the back of the scrum is Rousseau. Powering on as Paarl Gim is not Rousseau, in fact it is Fourie. He's been fairly sturdy so far, held on, but he will carry on over, and he does manage to roll his way over the chalk. That was almost slow motion replay.
Yeah, but it was inevitable, Derek. You know, the jump pack, like we said, they're so well drilled in that maul. First couple of times Garsfontein got to repel it, but the slow poison just kicked in there. And one of the Garsfontein players actually thought he was through the middle. If we just have a look at the replay, he thought he came through the middle, and the referee said no, and that was just what created that little bit of a gap. As you see the player coming through, referee says no, release, and as he released, they just created the gap, and eventually just too strong, and Zane Pretorius, try as he might, could not prevent that try.
Yeah, kudos for actually not giving away a cynical foul. I probably would have seen a card regardless, but there's been many opportunities where the player would have held on regardless and not heeding the referee's warnings, but it wasn't the case there, and that allowed Jean Fourie to power his way over the chalk.
Yeah, except for that one stern talking by the referee. The discipline in this first 13 minutes by both sides has been quite good. And, you know, that's also something to look out for at the start of the season. The guys haven't played for 2 years, you know, due to the COVID situation. And will their discipline hold on? As we have a look at the kick. And good strike by the Gim fly half, but unfortunately that one just drifts across the post for JP Hanekom, and the score stay Paarl Gymnasium 5 and Garsfontein 0.
It's a nice play there from Paarl Gim. They did threaten numerous times early on. Bit of a fight back from Garsfontein, but as soon as Paarl Gim got another sniff of that line, they took the opportunity immediately. Garsfontein to restart matters. Once again, Jamaleo Goliath. Looks like a big sturdy number 10.
Schoolboys don't look like we did in our days, Derek.
Not even close. Nice high kick from Goliath. A very good restart from him, but well collected from Paarl Gim. Liederman clears out, skips his fly off. Good strong run from the midfield, and Liederman opts for the boot this time. A very high kick as Goliath underneath it. Nice collect. In fact, that was Liam Dick, and this is brilliantly played by Zane Pretorius, the scrum off. Gets it through to his outside to Goliath. Nice play. Here goes the fullback, Liam Dick once again, who started the attack. Good defense there from Paarl Gim. They were under severe pressure, but Garsfontein hold onto the ball. This time, Prinsloo. Hugo. Pretorius. Nice skip pass out. Can't quite find his winger. It was Hugo Jason. Jason goes up to clean up, but it's tremendous defense from Paarl Gim.
That was a great passage of play there on the side of Garsfontein. Zane Pretorius, scrum off, doing some amazing work. And then, unfortunately, just that long pass. How many times do we see that in rugby? That long floating pass just not going to hand. All the momentum lost, and quite nearly, or very nearly, an opportunity for Paarl Gim to counter-attack.
Another scrum. And the first one was a fairly messy affair. Number of restarts. Then Pretorius had a stern talking to. Front rows. Let's see if that will change matters this time around. Shaking your head there, Johan.
The scrum and rugby. Surely we can do something about this. You know, there's so much time in a rugby match that goes lost at scrum time. I know the guys are excited. I know they want to pummel each other and get great position. But I just think it's something that we need to fix. Way too many restarts and way too much time lost.
Yeah, it is a pity. And people say that trying to get new fans to the game and they watch this. And it doesn't really get more confusing. I think I've had easier times working out a Rubik's Cube. This time round, far better from both sides as Garsfontein attack once again. Nice pass from Goliath. He finds his man, but he can't quite collect it to Liam Dick because he had a man on him. Terrific defense once again from Paarl Gim as it's their turn to put into the scrum.
Yeah, it's great defense out wide by Paarl Gim, you know, just cutting off the options for Liam Dick. And he received ball and man at the same time. Try to get the ball away quickly. Would have been some space on the outside for his left winger, JJ Breert. But, yeah, just a great defense on the side of Paarl Gim. And I think it was a number 13 ace who just cut off all the options there. Like, you know, Jacques Fourie of old doing brilliant work in the number 13 channel. It is the most difficult channel in a rugby field to defend.
Jacques Fourie, a product of a school taking part in this tournament, Monument, from across the Yuxke, and it is penalty for Paarl Gim, and Leon Pretorius is having none of it. Once again, calling the men from Garsfontein over, including the skipper, Willie de Klerk.
Mr. Pretorius just having another stern talk here. And he's already had a couple of stern talks to the Garsfontein pack of forwards, calling Zane Pretorius over as well. And luckily they escape without sanction. I wouldn't like to see somebody go off with a yellow card at this stage.
Penalty, Paarl Gim, leading matters 5 points to 0. And it's Zander Strauss with the touch finder. Not the greatest of distance, but he did the first job. It was fine touch. And Paarl Gim will have another opportunity to attack just outside the Garsfontein 22. You spoke about Zane Pretorius having looked very impressive so far for Garsfontein. I like the look of him. Sturdy scrum half, short, but certainly stocky.
Yeah, it's like I mentioned in the earlier game, you know, if you see a second side scrum half playing that way, imagine the first side scrum half. You know, licking my lips for the game later on between these two schools' first sides to see what Garsfontein's number 9 produces in that match.
Nice throw once again, and well collected as always. Luan Buerta looking very, very good come line-out time. And held up once again at the back by Jean Fourie, the try scorer. Looking to do the same this time around as Paarl Gim continue to power forward. The ball is dropped, but it doesn't matter because it remains in play. Hard work once again from inside centre Strauss, but looking to clear his Liederman. Fighting hard for the ball, and he gets it out to his flanker Cross. Cross pumping those legs. He goes down, but Gim maintained possession. Liederman, he's got his fly off, and he finds him in Hanekom. Long pass out, brilliant play from Labuschagne. Gets through one, and he dots down for Paarl Gim's second try.
Once again, the Paarl Gim side is just so structured from their lineouts. They get brilliant lineout position. They set up the maul, and they just make it look easy after that. It is so impressive to see that after 2 years of no rugby, that this side can be so structured, and it's even more impressive thinking that this is a second side. If we have a look at this replay, good clear out at ruck time, and then the long ball sucking in the inside defenders, and Labuschagne with a show and go, and Pretorius had no price there. He had to decide. It was either Labuschagne or the left winger Visser that was going to go over, and Labuschagne spotting the opportunity. Great work, Paarl Gymnasium.
So Paarl Gim starting to assert their authority now. And when they get within touching distance, when it comes to being able to use their pack, they're certainly starting to make it count. 20 minutes in, a chance to make it 12-0. Hanekom swings his right, and the ball goes left. So it remains 10 points to 0. Kickers certainly still need to find their kicking boots today. 3 attempts at goal, all 3 missed opportunities. You speak about size-wise. They don't make it, well, they certainly make them bigger than what we used to back in our day. I was one of the few English guys playing in a EP Craven Week outfit, and I was looking for my lock partner, arguably one of the shortest locks in history. And I found this guy, and I said, "Is jy my watter posisie speel jy?" And I looked up, and he looked down at me, center, and jy. I said, "Slot." Ended up being Rudy Kutzer, who ended up playing for the Cats.
It is absolutely amazing the size of the schoolboys these days, Derek. I mean, all of the forwards weighing in excess of 100 Ks easily in packs of 860 and 870 Ks.
And here goes another one of those big men. Paarl Gim keeping it amongst their forwards. Oh, and closely followed by Garsfontein, looking well to turn over possession, and they do exactly that. Here's a chance. 3 men on the outside. Great break from Menlyn. Garsfontein looking to hit back. Nice work once again from Pretorius. He gets it to Hiku. Pretorius decides to go blind, and it's well held on by Goliath. Gets through 1 man, not quite 2. Eventually goes backward. Pretorius. Strong run there from Duplessis. Pretorius opts to go blind once again. A lot of players on the outside for Garsfontein, including Prinsloo. Could this be a turnover ball? It looks like it is. Very well done. In fact, no. Garsfontein managed to get the hands back on the ball. Engelbrecht doing some good work.
That Paarl Gim player needs to roll out there.
Goliath. And he's taken down 3 men on him. There's no chance of him getting through, but penalty, Garsfontein. A chance for them to get on the board. And it certainly is within kicking distance.
The Garsfontein side at this stage is exactly lacking what Paarl Gim has, and they're just lacking that structure on attack. Everything is just a little bit of willy-nilly, you know, playing on the blind side, then playing to the open side. There's no forwards really making positive carries from deep, and I think as soon as they can get that going, you can clearly see they do have really dangerous players on the park.
So Garsfontein now with a chance, a rare chance inside Paarl Gim's 22. We haven't seen an attacking line-out from them. We've seen plenty from Paarl Gim, so let's see what Garsfontein can do. Clutter Taylor, the men in the middle. But it's collected by Willie de Klerk, the captain. And here's Garsfontein now. Although that rolling ball kind of decimating, but they continue to power forward, and they do make their way over the line, but they do not find the grass.
Yeah, that maul sort of peeled to the right very quickly, and there was just 3 or 4 players from Garsfontein involved, but the leg drive was really good, and they didn't get over, but solid defense. If we just have a look at this replay, how quickly they do peel to the right, using just 3 players, and initially the body position not great, but the supporting players come, pump their legs, get them over, but unfortunately for Garsfontein, great D on the side of Paarl Gim, and they have been kept up.
Another attacking opportunity for Garsfontein. Scrum with the line within sight. Here we go with Garsfontein. Scott, very well tackled. Brilliantly tackled, in fact. Wow, that was tremendous defense from Paarl Gim.
And an unforced error there by Bulu Scott, the number 12 of Garsfontein. Surely in that situation, you know you have been tackled. And it is a sort of an uncertainty in the law, because players are asked to release as quickly as possible after making a tackle. But that was surely tackled, and no way you can stand up from that.
Very well done from Paarl Gim. First time that they've really been tested when it comes to the set piece inside their own 22. And they came out shining. Try scorer Jean Fourie with the throw in once again. And this time collected by Luan Buerta. Nice strong run from Rousseau. Liederman. This time to Kraus. Kraus gets a strong run in. He's brought down eventually. Liederman. Nice pop pass there. Eventually through to Strauss. He's been very prevalent so far. A strong running inside center. And And that is penalty. Once again, Paarl Gim.
The discipline of Garsfontein just letting them down in this first half. But once again, what a tackle made by Pretorius, the scrum off from Garsfontein. He's been absolutely all over the park. But Garsfontein will need to check their discipline. They're just conceding too many penalties, and this is giving so much momentum to their Gim side. And once again, they're going to have an attacking line out, and I don't think it's going to be any surprise what's going to happen now.
Yeah, I don't think JP Hanekom must expect a drop kick pass coming his way. But watch out for Jean Fourie at the base of this maul. I think he's going to be, once again, throwing it over. In fact, it goes to the back of the line-out this time around. And there goes Fourie to clean up. Brought down pretty quickly, and here we go. They are attacking through. Another run there from Strauss. Liederman gets it out to his fly-off. There's a chance here. Labuskachny, the try scorer, gets through two, and he gets over for his second try. You said watch out for this man, and we certainly are seeing some magic happen.
Yeah, he's got a really, really good step, and he also looks like one of those guys that's just awkward to defend against. Long arms, long legs, you know, the hips goes both ways, and guys just falling off him. He's not a big boy by any stretch of the imagination, but obviously a really awkward customer to defend against. If we just have a look here, straight from Hanekom, it goes to Labuskachny. Good step of the right foot, and then how's your father handoff straight to the face. And yeah, try time, Labuskachny, second one in the match.
I tell you what, Viljoen won't want to see a replay of that try. A terrible attempt to tackle from him. But Labuskachny putting in the power to make sure that he doesn't bring him down. Very good effort. Here's a chance now for Paarl Gim to go 17 ahead. Certainly the easiest kick of the match so far. Hanekom stutters a little bit in the follow-through, but it makes no mistake in the end, as Paarl Gim open up a 17-0 lead as they start to take complete control of this match. But once again, Garsfontein have had the opportunities, but like you said, penalties and indiscipline certainly killing their chances.
And this is where rugby now becomes tough for Garsfontein, because they feel like they're in this, but they're trailing 17 points to 0. They don't feel like they're being overpowered, or, you know, so now the mental games start playing on your mind. How do I find myself in this position? So let's see if they can dig themselves out of this hole.
One man certainly tasked with doing exactly that is Goliath. Another high restart from him. And it does find the grass. It bounces. So Garsfontein trying to clean up the messy ball. And what does referee Pretorius rule this time around? No, it says Garsfontein certainly did get a hand on it while in the air. So it will be Paarl Gim's put in. Another scrum.
That was an opportunity for Garsfontein to get some ball, Derek, but what a privilege it is to be back doing rugby. Super Sports Schools bringing you this live broadcast, North-South tournament at Affy's, sponsored by Barloworld, Toyota Menlyn, and what a product they are dishing up.
Yeah, and this is only the third match of the tournament, and already we've seen some humdingers. It promises some tremendous things for the next couple of days. But what a scrum from Garsfontein. First time we've seen some proper power from the men in blue and white. Was it green and white? Turquoise.
Turquoise and white, and that left Gim with no option but to use their left wing Brett on the blind, or Visser on the blind side, and it was a big tackle into touch. And maybe one last opportunity now for Garsfontein. They would dearly love to get points before half-time to stay in this match.
Opting for a short line-out. And it goes towards the back. And it is very well defended from Paarl Gim. Will they kick it out? No. They decide to attack once more. 17-0 in front. No real pressure from them. And they'll continue to roll it along inside their own half for now. Liederman gets it out to his fly half, Hanekom. And can't collect. Here's a chance now for Garsfontein. Will this come back to bite Paarl Gim, deciding not to kick out? No, it won't, because referee Pretorius does signal the end of the first half with Paarl Gim 17-0 ahead.
Yeah, it's been a very interesting first half. Paarl Gim being so controlled, being so structured, getting the 2 tries and leading by 17 points to 0. Garsfontein having a lot of territorial advantage and playing in Gim's half, but just making the wrong decisions. Giving away penalties and finding themselves back in their own 22. Garsfontein will definitely need to score first in the second half. Otherwise, this might become one-way traffic.
Sometimes when I come home, I wonder what I would say to my younger self. Maybe I would say, ungenayonga yona kid inhle okanye ibhadlileyo. Ndakubona intwana ezimiseleyo. Kodwa qina, qhubeka ufunda, qhubeka udlala, qhubeka ukholelwa. Ngenye imini ukukhanya kuzokufumana.
Barloworld Toyota Menlyn nou groter en beter. Ons het geskryf, nou oorkant Menlyn Main Pretoria. Jou nommer 1 handelaar vir nuwe en gebruikte motors, dienste en parte. Skakel ons gerus by 012 995 1700.
Second half action coming up. Garsfontein versus Paarl Gymnasium. The third match of the North-South tournament of 2021. The brainchild of the man from the South, Peter Rousseau. And what a tournament he is putting on. Barloworld Toyota Menlyn, a main sponsor, and brought to you live on the screens by Supersport Schools. And you can also interact with us on the various media platforms. Tell us what you think about schoolboy rugby being back.
Looking back at what we saw in the first half, very commanding performance from Paarl Gim. Took a while to find their feet, but once they did, it was all the men from the Cape. And the first try going the way of Fourie. Another powerful rolling maul from Paarl Gim. You could always feel it was coming. There was no question.
Yeah, this lead has been built on a structured play, patience, and you can just see, I've said it numerous times, you can see these guys are well drilled. If you look at Labuskachny, he scored a brace in that first half, so he's been very exciting from fullback. Hanekom has controlled things well in the fly-off channel. If we look at the second try of Labuskachny, the step of the right, and then the how's your father, fend to the face, and he goes over untouched.
This is amazing. Like you said, he doesn't look like the biggest of guys, but he manages to get past players and through them, as we just saw now. Viljoen, as mentioned, will not want to see a replay, but he'll certainly want to bounce back in this, the second 30. Paarl Gim 17, Garsfontein 0. And Garsfontein to restart matters via their number 10, Jamaleo Goliath. And off they go once more. The start of the second half. Yeah, at Affis and taken down in the air, and this is going to be trouble for Garsfontein.
Yeah, that's unacceptable. It's definitely going to be a sanction, I think, here by the referee. He's had some stern talks to the gentleman from Pretoria, and just trying to see what the sanction will be. Is it going to be a yellow?
It looks like a yellow. So Garsfontein, arguably the worst start they could have had to this. Give a replay of the action. And it was number 7 taking him down. Heinrich Engelbrecht given his marching orders. Yellow card for him. So
the timing was just all wrong there. You could see in his reaction there was no malice intended. But the timing was just all wrong. And once a player gets lifted, you're more than aware that you're not allowed to touch him in that position.
I tell you what, you go into half 17-0 down, you lose a player. Things don't get much worse. And it's Paarl Gim on the attack once more. Good run there from Ross. Eventually goes down. Liederman, slick pass to Hanekom. He finds Ace, who gets it through to Strauss. Strauss tries to get past one, and he's taken out only just. And he's been very prominent so far, but it is advantage the way of Paarl Gim. And they'll go back to where it all started from.
Yeah, Paarl Gim clearly in control of this match at this stage, and now playing against 14 men from Garsfontein. They will be looking to step on the accelerator and just keep doing what they're doing. Put the phases together. The gaps will open up, and the Garsfontein defense will definitely tire in the second half.
I can guarantee you they won't be going for poles from there. 17-0 up, a man up, and that's exactly what they do. They go for touch, they can't find it. So a mistake, a rare mistake from Strauss. And Garsfontein given a rare get-out-of-jail free card. And they look to play it inside their own half, or inside their own 22. And here we have the man, Galetso Viljoen. Brilliant play from him. Broken through 2. He's got 2 men running on him. He's got a man on his outside, opts to go it alone, goes down eventually. That was terrific play from the number 13. Told you he wanted to make amends from his earlier mistake in the first half, and he's done just that. It would have looked a pass though.
That was a great strike running, but eventually he just didn't find his support, or didn't look to his support, you know. You just could see he was going it alone. And unfortunate, that was a great opportunity for Garsfontein against the runner play to get back into this match.
It's another chance for Garsfontein as Goliath finds touch, do what Paarl Gim couldn't just a few minutes ago.
Look at this replay, you know, he takes on the angle, and then the beautiful show and go. He just gets around Ross there, and now that's where he needed to look at his support. Unfortunately, you know, he got that white line fever and he just wanted to go himself.
Yeah, man, he had Jason on his outside screaming for the ball. But there they have another bite of the cherry do Garsfontein. Can they get their first score on the board? Again, great defense from Paarl Gim, bundling them backwards. And Taylor playing scrum off for a change. They can't hold on, and that is easily intercepted by Paarl Gim as they attack.
Another big hit by Pretorius. The scrum off from Garsfontein, looking to stamp his authority on this match.
Terrific play now from Paarl Gim. They're looking to attack, and we saw Engelbrecht, Labeskachny, in fact, having a tremendous play in that first half, doing his bit in that backline move. Fourie, try scorer. Liederman, Hanekom, flat pass from him. Good run once again, this time from low. Liederman, Hanekom, Ace, pops it on his inside. There's men aplenty. Rousseau goes down. Ross goes to play scrum off. Good work there from Bierkes. Liederman, plenty of men on the outside. Here's a chance now. Hanekom gets it through to Strauss. Strauss decides to go it alone, eventually finds the try scorer twice, who makes it 3 times, and it's Labeskachny for the hat-trick.
Yeah, eventually that space was going to pop up on the outside. Only 14 men on the field for Garsfontein. But once again, a great work done by Paarl Gymnasium, getting it to their strike runner, Ferdi Labeskachny, going over for a hat-trick, and he'll remember this day. If we take a look at this replay, it was Hanekom spreading it to Strauss. Strauss with a little show and go, but the whereabouts to then get the offload away. And Labeskachny, that left-footed step is not the first time we see it today. And he's over. And Garsfontein, I think, might be in a bit of trouble.
Worth reminding, these are the second teams of the respective schools that we're watching. Imagine what those first teams can produce. We saw someone like Tsepo Ledwaba earlier.
It's been amazing to see the depth of talent we have in South African schools boy rugby, and so great to give these second side guys opportunities on this stage. You know, there's so many guys. Somebody like Peter Rousseau himself never represented Paarl Gim's first side, became a Springbok. Dr. Yanni Duplessis never or hardly even represented Grey College's Cherries and became a Springbok, as did Tian Liebenberg, the CUT coach. You know, so it's so great to give these guys an opportunity for us to know their names and showcase their talent.
It's an unfortunate miss there from Hanekom as Paarl Gim extend their lead 22 points to 0 early in the second half. And as you mentioned, Johanna, I think Garsfontein have a long afternoon in front of them now. It's 25 minutes to go, no score yet on the board, and they haven't really looked like they're about to score.
They haven't really threatened, you know. They've had a couple of line breaks from deep inside their own territory, you know, and so they'll have to get some structure into their play, make it a little bit slower. They one less on the field, you know, and make sure that they stay in this fixture.
Goliath with the restart, well collected by Kraus. Liederman, good work from him. Long looping pass, can't quite find his man. But it is penalty. Paarl Gim. Paarl Gim, so unfortunately Garsfontein for them. Offside.
Just another point of the discipline of Garsfontein, just letting them down. Bad passing on the side of Paarl Gim. No need to have been offside in that position. The pressure would have been straight on to Paarl Gim anyway. But unfortunately, discipline just letting them down.
And there, another missed touch finder from Paarl Gim. Long pass out from Liam Dick. Great running out from Liam Dick. He's got a man on his outside. He opts to go it alone again. And Garsfontein not making the most of their opportunities. And it is advantage, Garsfontein. What can they do with this now? Deep inside Paarl Gim's half. And they continue to keep hold of the ball. Quickly taken by their scrum off, Zane Pretorius.
Just have a look at this replay. Liam Dick providing the strike running there, and Garsfontein on the attack.
Edging their way into the Paarl Gim 22. Pretorius gets it out to his big runners. This time it's Erasmus. He looks like a big man to stop, and that indeed proved to be the case. This time round it's Taylor. Driven back by some tremendous Paarl Gim defense.
Double upping on defense is Paarl Gim at this stage. Two guys hitting one and just making big defensive decisions.
So Garsfontein going backwards in the attack, phase after phase, not quite working, but referee Pretorius rules in favor of them. Penalty, Garsfontein, and quite strong in his whistle there. Hold up time. Remember Garsfontein having lost a man to the Sinbin, Ulrich Engelbrecht, at the start of the half. Tackling a man in the air.
Another discussion by the referee and his assistant referee, and we'll just await this decision. But Paarl Gymnasium really double hitting on defense currently, but it is easy because Garsfontein is sending in one off runners, and Gim is just loading on defense, making double hits and literally driving every carrier of Garsfontein back.
Explanation coming the way of Dean Kraus from Paarl Gim. Hanekom watching on. It's great when a referee explains wholeheartedly. And we spoke about this right at the very beginning of the game. Laying down the marker. They know their rules, their boundaries. And discipline hasn't been too bad. Well, from Paarl Gim it certainly hasn't. Garsfontein will be kicking themselves to the amount of penalties that they've given away, but now they have a penalty for them, as Goliath looks to find touch once more, and he makes no mistake.
It's very important that referees communicate clearly to players, that they understand the message and that they keep the message simple for players to understand it. You know, it's in the heat of the moment. Some of these guys are grade 11 and grade 12 learners. So the referee plays a very, very important role in keeping these matches up to standard.
Garsfontein now with a line out deep inside Paarl Gim's half. They can spot the try line. Can they get on the board? And not with lineouts like that, unfortunately. Very well intercepted by Kraus. A terrific defense once again from Garsfontein. Looking to turn things over. They can't quite do that. And it's cleared by Liederman. Booted upfield. And it's collected by that man Zane Pretorius, the stocky number 9. Liam Dick had a brilliant attacking run a few minutes ago. And that is charged down. Pretorius' kick not doing what it wanted, but now it's up to Goliath to try and clean up the mess. And he's very well marked by Strauss. Pass out, and another charge down. Here is an opportunity for Paarl Gim. It doesn't come easier than that. Dean Kraus touching down. And, oh man, mistake after mistake after mistake from Garsfontein.
We said a couple of minutes earlier this might become a long afternoon now for Garsfontein. And unfortunately, they're doing this to themselves. Like you said, Derek, it's a couple of mistakes. It's a mistake after another mistake. And all of a sudden, you're standing behind your posts. We just look at this replay. Ball coming out. Zane Pretorius, the guilty party in both charge downs. And Kraus going over for Paarl Gymnasium. And with an easy 2 points away, the score should be 29 to Paarl Gim, 0 to Garsfontein.
I lost count of the amount of charge downs that was in that period of play.
You can just see on Zane Pretorius' face after that second one. He was not happy with himself. He's one of the few Garsfontein players who's had such a good afternoon, and you can see that he's one of the better players on the park for them. So unfortunate for him, and you can just see his head dropping, realizing that he's just cost his side 7 points.
Yeah, unfortunate for Garsfontein, unfortunate for the number 9. Really has been one of their better players, but didn't quite work out that time around. Garsfontein still looking for their first points of the match. Looks clear as day that Paarl Gim is going to come away with the win for this game, but it'd be nice for Garsfontein to at least show something for their efforts. Once again, it's Goliath with the restart. Great restarts from him, in fact. And there's the try scorer, Dean Kraus. Lanky flanker, but strong nonetheless. Nice play from Van der Westhuizen. And here we have a break from Garsfontein, but no, it was not, because they were offside, ruled by the referee Pretorius.
You mentioned the great restarting by number 10, Goliath. Well, he's had plenty of practice with his restarts this afternoon. So by the end of this match, he might have perfected it. And yeah, that is said very much tongue-in-cheek. This Garsfontein side, you can see that they're a quality outfit. You know, it's just small things hindering them today. First game of the season for all of these sides, or most of these sides, you know, maybe had a 1 or 2 warm-up matches. And these are things that will still come right through the season. And I can assure you that they will still scare a lot of the big teams in South Africa.
Now, I want to see that front row in action, have a proper scrum. We saw a very powerful effort from them towards the tail end of the first half, and I think if you get those big men into the thick of things, it could be a very different result. Having a look at this injury break, we hope everything is okay as we get towards the midway of the second half. I spoke a little earlier, Johan, about the Springboks that Paarl Gim have produced. So since readmission, 14 Springboks by my count. But interestingly enough, one of only 2 schools to have produced 2 or more Springbok captains since readmission. Paarl Gim being John de Villiers and Skalkberger. Do you know the other school?
Pretoria Boys High?
No.
Or not?
No, and test rugby as well.
Okay. So it's a bit of a trick question because Pretoria Boys High had John Smith and
Chili
Boy Rolapele.
Yeah, no, test captains.
Just give me a couple of seconds.
I'm going to let you think on that one.
Just let me think on that one, Derek. I think I might just eventually, by way of elimination, get there. And if we just get back to the game that we're seeing at this stage, something that's been really, really impressive, and it was impressive from their first side last week as well, is the defensive structure of Paarl Gymnasium. If your structures are so well sorted out in the first game of the season, good luck to the sides playing you for the rest.
And you can see they are certainly a very well-drilled outfit. And he does find touch this time round. Zander Strauss made a mistake a little earlier. This time round, no such mistakes. Halfway through the second half, Paarl Gim 29-0 in front, looking to take their tally into the 30s, and don't bet against it. Another great line-out collected by Buerta, and here we have a break straight through, and it is Janse van Vuren. Great work from him. Strauss can't quite clear, very well defended from Garsfontein, and some argy-bargy between the Paarl Gim and Garsfontein players, cleared out by Scott. And plenty of reserves on now. This, oh, that could have been brilliant. Unfortunately, knocked on from Hugo Jason. Wow.
There was some lackadaisical defense there on the side of Paarl Gymnasium. I don't think they realized that the Bulu Scott kick was so well chased by right wing Jason, and very, very nearly turned into points for Garsfontein.
So a couple of replacements, or plenty of replacements on the park now, as they bring on the fresh legs. And here we have another interjection from the assistant referee. And, Leon Pretorius has been pretty vocal and pretty busy.
As we have this interjection, I think I might have an answer to your question. If we just look at the replacement player from Paarl Gim, it was number 21, Van Niekerk, running a brilliant angle, but then great work done on defense by Garsfontein. To be very cryptic about it, both of them was loose forwards.
Yes.
Both of them captained from 8th man.
Yes.
And it was Gary Teichmann and Bobby Skinstad from Hilton College.
Congratulations. Both Zimbabweans by birth.
And like I said, it was by process of elimination. I had to start right through from Francois Pienaar in my mind to get to the fact that they both captained. And it's so interesting, you know, how certain schools just keep producing these players, and certain structures, you know, produce leaders. You know, Paarl Gim, Gray Bloom, Paul Rus, these guys might have the most players, but interesting to see that it's not always captains coming from those schools, you know?
Yeah.
And a big kudos to Hilton for having 2 Springbok captains.
It is an amazing stat, and it's one that I always like to ring off, and well done. Very few people, if any, have actually got it. So you're one of the few that fit into that mold. Congratulations, but I wouldn't put anything past you, Johan. You're an absolute fountain of knowledge when it comes to rugby, particularly schoolboy rugby, as Paarl Gim looked to attack once more through their try scorer, one of their try scorers, Jean Fourie. And they work it down the back line, and waiting in the wings was Labuskakni. Couldn't quite get his hands on the ball this time around. And Garsfontein turning over the ball inside their 22. Hoofed up once again. Not much distance. And it is collected by Base. Long pass from him. And he gets it to Van Niekerk. He's got plenty of men on his outside. And he gets it through to Visser. Visser finds his man, but who can't hold on. And Garsfontein now tried to attack, but they'll go back for the knock-on.
That was such a pity, because it was such a flowing backline move on the side of Paarl Gymnasium. And, you know, like we said, they're starting to catch fire now, and they're starting to throw the ball around as well. You know, they were so structured. They know they can't lose this match anymore, and I think we might start seeing some magic from them now.
Yeah, here's a chance, another chance for Paarl Gim to score yet another try. Very good tackle, it must be said, though. So you can, no criticism going the way of Paarl Gim, but plenty of kudos going the way of Garsfontein for that effort. And a new scrum off on the board for Garsfontein. Fogwell waiting in the back, but it is Paarl Gim on the attack once again. Great run from Skippers. He goes down eventually. Base looking to clear out. Tries to go it alone, gets back up, and he continues to move forward. Gets to the 5 meter. And there we have a 3-time try scorer playing fly scrum off, Labuskakni. Another good attack. Paarl Gim, plenty of men. This has to be long pass out, and it goes the way of Van Niekerk, who does the rest. Credit to Hanekom, because he had plenty of space to go it alone, but instead opted for the dead cert and giving it off to the number 21, Lockie Van Niekerk.
Yeah, and a great opportunity for the substitutions also to get in on the action. You know, maybe some of these guys represent the third side of their school, and they're getting onto the TV and live coverage. And Paarl Gim just, you know, going through the gears now slightly. it's been such a polished performance, and yeah, they're looking really, really strong at the start of this season. They did look strong last week at the Monash Centenary Festival. This second side of Gim going down by only 35 points to 31 to the Grey College Cherries side. And, you know, the Cherries infamous for, you know, being able to put one over a lot of first sides. So to get that close, you know, the Cherries was leading Paarl Gim 27-7 at half-time, and a massive second half performance by this Gim side. So they're a really polished outfit, and I'm looking forward to a great season for them.
Yeah, that is a tremendous result from them, particularly, as you said, managing to come back from that half-time deficit. As Paarl Gim look to add to their tally, that was their 6th try. And this time round, going through, taking it to 36. Very, very good kick. And a new man on the park.
Paarl Gim totally in control of this fixture now. We've got about 8 minutes left in this match, and great performance. They are looking to stretch their legs even further, and knowing Paarl Gim, you know, they won't stop going. There's no way. They won't show any remorse in burying this Garsfontein second side.
Not a chance, and that was in fact Zander Strauss did the duties with the kick. Collected at the back by Nicholas Rousseau. Good pass through to Duval, who's pushed back somewhat by Garsfontein. Referee looking to blow on his whistle, and eventually he decides to. It is penalty Paarl Gim.
And for the umpteenth time in this game, Paarl Gim getting an opportunity to run deep from a penalty caused by the ill discipline of Garsfontein. And maybe in this situation they've been their own worst enemy.
8 minutes to go for Garsfontein to at least have some semblance of a score. I'll certainly want to go away from this game to show something for their efforts, but at the moment doesn't look like they're coming close to doing just that.
Derek, if we just take a look again at the value of tournaments like these, you know, speaking about schools and captains and this, you know, the percentage of players that attend Craven Week and become professional rugby players is not that high. But tournaments like these give the opportunity to see those guys not going to Craven Week, and in a couple of years' time their development is better, their development is faster, and they become the pros. And this gives us a brilliant opportunity of looking at the stars of the future.
There's no question, and you summed it up brilliantly. We're watching their second team sides in action right now, and like you mentioned, Peter Rousseau failing to make his first 15, and we all know how that came about, or how that resulted. So yeah, I mean, to have the spotlight on these players who may or may not make it to Craven Week doesn't matter, because we're getting to see them in action right here, right now. And yeah, it can only bode so well for their respective futures. So we wanted to see Garsfontein put their big boys in action at scrum time. Solid scrum this time around. As Garsfontein look to attack this time through Scott. New man on the park once again, Fogwell. Nice bullocking run from the forwards of Garsfontein. Plenty of new men on the park this time. Engelbrecht. Remember, he got a yellow card early in the half. He is back on. Fogwell assesses the situation. And looks as if Garsfontein certainly going through the motions at the moment. Goliath back to Engelbrecht. Can they get on the board? Great defense from Paarl Gim. It was a knock on. Here we go, Fogwell going along blind. And he's bundled into touch. 3 men on him. Nice attempt, it must be said, but Paarl Gim were up to the attack.
Yeah, for a moment that space did open on the blind side. It just looked like he might have gone too wide around the ruck. Looked like there was a little bit of space for the young man. And Fogwell just being carried or bundled into touch there by Paarl Gim. And amazingly, they're not letting up on that defensive effort either. They want to keep this a whitewash.
Yeah.
This is about pride for them. Like we mentioned, coming off a loss to the Cherries, they want to get this thing rolling, this season rolling. And boy, by what I'm seeing today, good luck for the guys playing Gim's second side later in the year.
Very powerful outfits, having already scored 6 tries. Can they make it the 7th with the clock ticking? 36-0, 5 minutes to go. Fogwell tried to have a neat break a mere minute ago. Didn't quite work out. Nice attempt from him. Goliath with the dummy, and that was a penalty going the way of Garsfontein this time around.
Interesting to see. Advantage wasn't really played there, unless he thought that the 12 had committed some obstruction before Goliath. But anyway, Garsfontein back on the attack.
So another hard blow of the whistle there from the referee, and a card will be shown, and it is a yellow. So Paarl Gim, a man down this time around. Very impressed with Stander so far since he's come on the park.
Derek, the referee's also had 2 years off, and Mr. Pretoria is definitely testing that whistle today, just making sure that no rust crept in over these past 2 years, and having a couple of proper shrill blasts of the whistle.
Stander attacking once more and driven back brilliantly by Duval. That was tremendous defense from Paarl Gim. But Garsfontein desperate to try and get on the board as they fight on, edging ever closer to that line. And they break out once again. Stander looking to get the ball in hand. He can't quite get there. It goes the way of Paarl Gim. And they'll look to run it, in fact, and it's brilliantly done. Watch this attack now. Plenty of men on his outside. That was Rousseau, and he finds his man. Gets past one. Can he get past another? This is Van Niekerk trying his best to the line, and he gets there. What a try.
Absolutely superb finishing by Lokkie van der Merwe, or Van Niekerk in fact. And, great work done by Gim from their own try line. But, looking up, that player that took the initial break in the 57th minute, I could see the happiness on his face when he saw his support. Look at this, a great break. Now he realizes, I'm a little bit tired. Where's my pace? And he gets it to Van Niekerk, one of the replacements. And he gets rid of one of the defenders from Garsfontein. And it's by this stage that it looks like he's going to get caught. But he gets that fender off and just finishes absolutely brilliantly.
Imagine when we were youngsters having to score a try like that on television.
It would have been such a privilege. I don't think I would have managed it, though. The situation he found himself in. Back in the days when we were playing school rugby, the corner flag was still out. So you didn't get to learn all those tricks that the guys do these days. You just dived into the corner, and if the guy then hit you, you hit the flag and you were out.
Tremendous score from Lokkie van Niekerk. It's the second try of the game, as Zander Strauss tries to add the extras into the final few minutes here at Affies, third match of the day.
You've got to feel a little bit for Garsfontein, Derek. I don't think they've necessarily been 40 points worse, as we see a brilliant conversion by Strauss right from the touchline. I don't think they've necessarily been 40 points worse than Paarl Gim. I do feel that discipline let them down, and that's something you can work at. But there's been some great players on the side of Garsfontein. Zane Pretorius was good. Goliath, the fly-off, I thought was pretty good. And their pack of forwards stood up to him. So it's not all doom and gloom for the men from Pretoria.
I completely agree. It's a strange thing to say, because you'd say that the scoreline flatters Paarl Gim somewhat, but that being said, Paarl Gim have looked very impressive at certain stages. As the last plays of the game continue, can Paarl Gim add one more? Can Garsfontein get on the board? Terrific play from Paarl Gim. They continue to attack once again. Hanekom finds his man on the outside, and that was forward, unfortunately, and it was Labuschagne, the three-time try scorer, couldn't get a fourth, throwing that ball away in anger. And no surprises in terms of man of the match. Who would you go with?
I think a guy that just carried the ball, maybe, Derek. Definitely Ferdi Labuschagne, the man of the match. Brilliant game played by the fullback of Paarl Gim. Such a complicated runner. He doesn't look big, he doesn't look that strong, but he just gets himself out of positions, and definitely one to keep an eye on for the future. A brilliant game by Labuschagne, and well-deserved man of the match.
Terrific play from him. 3 tries going his way. And they certainly weren't easy efforts either.
Yeah, one to keep an eye on, probably. We don't have the ages right in front of us, but I think he's one of the grade 11s in this Paarl Gim outfit. And the way he plays, that'll be a bright future for him. And obviously, he'll be earmarked to play some first-side rugby next year.
I'll tell you what, it was his birthday the other day, in fact, 15th of April, and he turned 18 years of age. Last play of the game, knock on, and that should be the game, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, so it's another one for the South. Paarl Gymnasium picking up victory for the South by 43 points to 0 over Garsfontein, and was a real pleasure doing this match with you, Derek Alberts. And hopefully this rugby just continues to go from strength to strength over the next few days of the North-South Festival, proudly brought to you by Barloworld, Toyota Menlyn.